Hi, it's Lisa Cuneo and welcome to my scrapbook table. I'm excited to share today's layout with you. I love everything about it. First, I'm going to do a little bit of mixed media, and I'm using the Gingham Garden collection from American Crafts that I picked up at Joann's for half price this week. I'm using those two inks and two others, this stamp set that I have no idea where it's from, and then that gorgeous grunge. So I start out, and I also know I'm going to use some tag dies here. These are some embellishments that I picked up that go with the Gingham Garden collection. I knew I wanted to do a little bit of mixed media on this background. It is not going to be like a wet and messy mixed media. It's just going to be some stamping, random stamping to add a little bit of texture and interest to the background. And then at the end, I add a little bit of white splatter. So I like these lines from Gorgeous Grunge, and I randomly stamp those all around. Some are first generation, some are second. Some are just partial prints of it. But I do like what it adds to the paper. Ever since I've started doing mixed media, plain cardstock, solid cardstock just seems too solid to me. And I know after a while the pendulum will probably swing back the other way. But for now, I like to add some interest to my backgrounds. This stamp set I picked up at a thrift store. I have no idea what it's called or even what manufacturer it's from. I bought it because I liked the labels and I liked the very cheap price. I think I got two sets and they were $1.50 each, which is a real bargain. And they're decent quality stamps. The photopolymer is it stamps well. So I'm happy with that. I'm using VersaFine Morning Mist, Glacier from Close to My Heart, and I also used a couple Stampin' Up! Inks, Crisp Cantaloupe and Powder Pink. Then I pulled this from the paper pad. It reads solid on the camera, on screen, but it has a nice chevron or herringbone pattern to it that I really like. And this is going to be a band across the bottom half of my page. I go ahead and round the corners, and then I use some ink on the edges of all the papers, and I don't have you watch all of that. But I inked up everything that went on the page except for the little embellishment pieces. I did not ink those, but everything else has some ink around the edges. So now I'm going through this book of paper and deciding what I'm going to cut my tags from. And I use a long, well, no, I guess it isn't a long one. This is from Elizabeth Craft Designs, and I cut it, and then I cut it in half to make it look like it's longer than it is. And when I'm going to cut, there's the longer one. When I'm going to cut tags or something from these, I like to just trim out the piece that I need, because the more I can keep the paper pad intact, I feel better. I don't like having a bunch of pieces floating around. This way I don't have to find an envelope to keep them all in. They're just still stuck in the paper pad for a while. So I like to do that for as long as I can when I have a new paper pad. So I cut out the floral, I cut out that greenish blue and a gray stripe, and then I'm thinking about what do I want next, and I end up with that plant one there with the black and white. I guess it's not really black, it's a dark gray, a little softer than a black. And those are the three patterns that I end up going with. I really like that plant pattern that I'm cutting right now. It has a lot of various colors in it, but it has the black and white. It's a nice contrast with the other things that are on my page. So there's what I'm doing with that stamp, or that tag. And I have the photo matted now, and I have a torn edge there. I ended up cutting that off and situating this differently, mainly because I don't know. I kind of wish I had left it the way I did, but I cut it off and then I went back to this layout several days later because Thanksgiving happened in the middle and there were 9 of us here for dinner, and that took quite a bit of my time to take care of. So when I got back to this on Friday after Thanksgiving, I forgot what I had intended. I wish I had looked back at this video portion that I was recording here and to give myself a refresher, but that's okay. I'm still happy with how it turned out. So now I'm adding some string to these tags. I decided to go with silver and white together. Either would have worked just fine, but for some reason I chose to put 2 of them together. And I'm going to go ahead and start gluing some of these down. Lately I've been using a little bit of wet glue along with my ATG. I'm thinking about where to put that. Then I come in, I think, with my T-square ruler just to help me make sure the tag, that the angle of the bottom piece matches the angle of the top piece, and they look like one continuous tag behind that bluish green chevron paper that's going to go across the middle. There we go. And that's pretty good. Not perfect, but pretty good. And so in this image, I have the photo straight up and down, but that's not how it ends up. As you saw at the beginning, and you'll see in a few minutes here, that changes up. And at first I think I might use the 3 tags there. For some reason I end up not using all 3. I think because the peach one just blends in too much with the background. This word sweet was in the embellishment pack, and that's going to be my title. Though I have some other words on here too. I know I'm going to use this floral. It ends up being moved around a little bit though. And so now it's the day after Thanksgiving, and I'm sorry for the glare on that photo. I'm having lighting issues in my scrapbook room. My main overhead light has started blinking, so I had to have it off until the new light bulbs come. So yeah, there's a little bit of shadow. It's just not quite as good as my usual lighting, but it's okay. And I decide I'm going to put some scrap cardstock behind the photo to bump it up a little bit, add a little bit of dimension. I add some dimension behind a couple embellishments also later. This photograph is the evening that my son gave his fiance her engagement ring. And they had been unofficially engaged for a couple of months, but we weren't allowed to tell anybody because they wanted to wait until they had a ring and it felt more official. And so it was only supposed to be a few weeks. So we said, okay, we can keep a secret. That's fine. Well, it ended up 10 weeks. 10 weeks I had to keep this secret to myself. It was almost torture, but we did it. And finally, on this day, those poor kids, they had so many roadblocks to making this happen that I was so excited when my son sent me this picture. And so in that tag, I created a little booklet behind it with all the journaling about this time period. And you'll be able to pull it up and read all about it. And I want this tag to say the story kind of in a scripty font, like what's on the word sweet to the left. So I just wrote it myself, and I made the letters a little thicker by going over it twice, and it'll just tuck down in that pocket there, but anyone who wants can reach down. It's not any private, it was just a lot of writing, so I decided to put it in a tag. And now I'm thinking about where I want the embellishments to go. I don't know why, but for some reason this part of a layout takes me way longer than having a general plan and getting my photo down and the main pieces. I struggle with the embellishing. And you can see what I have there. I end up ripping up the doily, the half doily that has the writing on it, because I messed up part of the writing and then I tried to fix it and I just wasn't happy with it. So I'm like, okay, I'm taking this all up and I'm going to fix it. So I ripped it off. Of course, it ripped the greenish blue paper, but that's okay. It turns out that you can't really see those rips anyhow. So thankfully I had another of these grayish doilies. I think they're from a pack from Stampin' Up that I've had in my stash for a while. So I glue the next one down. I add some flowers and another bird and a plant. There we go. I fiddle with this thing for quite a while. And then I'm adding a journaling block there at the bottom and a little tag that says happy. It actually says happy something else, but the other part didn't fit the page, so I just covered that part up. And we are so happy about Kayla joining our family, so that tag I wanted to be sure to get in there. And I decided to do the writing that had been on the gray doily on this little pale green scallop-edged journaling tag. And I'm fitting the happy tag there. It's not really a tag, but the happy piece of ephemera there, and covering up the writing that didn't fit. And I also add a little puffy heart to cover up the other little piece. I have a little word banner that says my heart. And let's see, what else is going to go on here? Oh, on the right there, you can probably see the word magic in script. It was in the ephemera pack, or it's a sticker. And I really liked the font because it was kind of that same scripty font that the word sweet is in. But the M, the beginning of it also looks like a capital L. So I was figuring out what to do with that. Here you can see me adding my puffy hearts. So what I ended up doing with the word magic is I just cut off the part of the M that was looking like a scripty L and bothering me, and I tucked that edge under the photograph so you can't really tell. And I really like how that brought the font from the upper left down to the bottom right. Excuse me. It is nice to have my voice mostly back. I'm happy about that. This is just a little florally, not floral, but a swirly thing. And I felt like I needed something in that gap there between the sweet tag and the flower flourish at the top. So that goes in there, and I feel like that is left, or that's a better option. And I'm sorry, I thought I had turned my sound off. That's one of my former students texting me about getting together soon. So let's see. There I'm adding the word magic. And on the green tag there, I just write the date. It was September 14th, 2023 in Memphis, Tennessee. I add that there, and you'll see in a moment the white splatters. I think you'll be able to see them when I hold it up. Thanks for joining me today. I do love this layout. I love the colors. I love the subject, and I'm really just happy with how it all turned out. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you have a great day. Bye.